Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Digitally Twisted News. We're taking a look at a lot of unfortunate news today, hitting home with a lot of people right now, especially in the tech industry. Across the board, a lot of people have been losing their jobs. Now, it's not good for anyone to lose their job, especially right now as we're looking at what looks like a recession. Just inflation is just out of control with all the government spending that's been going on, and it continues to go on. You've got WEF meeting in Davos and just basically saying how they want to control everything and you'll have nothing. And now we have a bunch of people that had these jobs are now poof going away. Now, some jobs can always be seasonal. Some people know that. Some people here are just temporarily to get some experience of a job and then they go back to their home country. That's a common trend for tech companies. They like to just use people temporarily on work visas and then toss them back once they're done with them. Also, a lot of people in the tech industry see themselves as globalists. Like, I don't really belong to a country. I just kind of flop around everywhere. So take this amount with a grain of salt. Combined, it's like 18,000 jobs between Microsoft and Amazon. Amazon already tacked on additional 10,000 jobs lost back in November. So really more like 28,000. That's not including, Twitter, Meta dropped a lot of people, especially because the whole idea of going to the metaverse just wasn't really happening. So let's take a look at this. All right. So Microsoft Wednesday said it'll eliminate 10,000 jobs and take a $1.2 billion charge of earnings as its cloud computing customers reassess their spending and the company braces for potential recession. Like, definitely get a recession. A lot of people are looking into cheaper solutions, cutting back on spending. The peak era, I would say probably 2010 to obviously this year, 2023, 2020, of living the life in these tech companies is coming to an end. I know a lot of tech companies around California, Silicon Valley are also cutting back hardcore on contractors. They're cutting back on additional services. They're cutting back on food services. They're a lot of things because it's all costs money, tons of it. And they may not be getting as much of that sweet government money as they used to, as we found out with as we find out with Twitter, with all the Twitter files that came out showing that literally the government was paying Twitter to censor its opponents. So now we're facing with 10,000 people lose their jobs again. The CEO, Satya Nadella, attempted to basically address the different outlook, different parts. So she's saying that the company wanted to optimize their digital spend to do more with less and exercise caution as some parts of the world are in recession. Oh, sorry, it's a he. Satya Nadella, it's a he, not a woman. Exercise caution as some parts of the world are in recession and other parts are anticipating one, which is correct. Tech companies from across the world are going to be affected by it. A lot of tech companies have been specifically watching to see what the big boys are going to do and have been following suit, because what's probably going to affect one is going to happen to another. We also keep in mind that all these individuals just met at the Davos location for the WEF, World Economic Forum. And you have a large group of people with a lot of money, and I have to say it's more like a God complex, the way some of them act. All going in one area and gathering ideas and basically just thinking this is what we need to do to save the planet or whatever. When you get a lot of people going on like that, it's a lot of bad things can happen. Okay, so that's Microsoft. Over here at Amazon, boom, 8,000 more. And then they had 10,000 cut, like I mentioned earlier, in November. So we're looking at more like 28,000. So even you take in consideration like seasonal and other stuff like that, that's a lot of jobs are going to be lost. Now, for Microsoft, they were talking about how a lot of these jobs that are being pushed were basically like in human resources, right? They were in certain departments that just weren't doing as well. And then what Microsoft here, to go back, is they're going to start putting more money and also hiring more into artificial intelligence. Now, we discussed artificial intelligence quite a bit on this channel. The biggest problem with artificial intelligence is it doesn't really create more human jobs. It ultimately just replaces human jobs, or it puts human jobs growth to a standstill because what was once done by your human person, your human resources, your receptionist, security, your driver, your truck drivers, everything, now gets slowly and steadily replaced by much more cheaper artificial intelligence, or at least much more controllable and much more customizable artificial intelligence. Because a lot of companies, they hire contractors, especially tech companies, hire contractors, and they get kind of, contractors don't really stay motivated for long when they realize that you're not really an employee, you're not seen as an employee, you don't have the benefits of an employee. You are just somebody that really is quite expendable. If we just decide that we got to make some cuts, you are the first one who's going to go. So contractors really don't stay motivated for long. Some do, and they get hired on, or some just stay as a contractor, keep their job. But a lot of them become very depressed, or not depressed, discouraged from actively participating in their job, doing a good job, and becoming more engaged and growing with it. And a lot of the tech companies, pick up on that, or even if the contractor is still doing a good job, they don't really care. And having an artificial intelligence operated robot or artificial intelligence guided program to be the face of the company or section of the company is probably something more that tech companies want. And that's what they want, because they keep pushing harder and harder and harder for it. They're obsessed with it. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Amazon as well. They're going to lay off an additional 8,000 employees, and they're start pushing out as soon as possible. Amazon, it says it's devices organization. That makes sense. People are not going to be buying as much stuff right now. Retail division, again, people are not going to be buying as much stuff right now. And human resources divisions. Really care about that human resources until it's time to cut back on money. And this is a sign of the time to come, and plan to lay off more. And let's see here, cuts, but say the majority were being made in Amazon Store PXT, people experience organizations, and they too are going to start looking into putting people into artificial intelligence. It's rough times. My advice, if you find yourself in these kind of jobs, a tech company, and you feel like you're on the chopping block, or might be on the chopping block again, because this may not be over with. There's more cuts are coming. It's going to affect a lot of people. I mean, you've got 28,000 people that relied on these individuals some way to hold, people that relied on these individuals being there to hold a job. Like I said, contractors, janitors, drivers, Uber drivers, people losing their jobs, especially in the tech industry, because the tech industry like to dump a lot of money on people. That's why areas like California, I think it's Seattle, New York, Austin, Texas now. Tech companies just love to dump tons of money on their people. Why? To outcompete everybody else, outcompete smaller companies in competition. But what they do then is they just drive up the cost of living in a hyper way in this one little small area, which just makes it more and more unaffordable for everybody else. And as those people continue to reap the profits of having so much money, they go out, they spend it, they buy up more resources, they buy up more houses, and it just keeps going south. And the cost of living keeps going up, keeps inflating. And then the problem with it is that when you have something like this go on, people lose so many jobs, not everyone's going to replace that job right away, or at least not be able to replace this job with something that pays very similar. So then what happens is you then also have this sharp drop, and then you have this huge financial gap to where these people were once depending upon that amount of money being there on a consistent basis. So we're all going to feel this. We're all going to feel this as more and more people lose their job. Now, overall, what we're saying, especially with Microsoft, it's about 5% of its workforce, but still 10,000 people, you are going to feel that. And then these people are going to have to basically reinvent themselves if they can't find a job with what they have, and then start looking into different types of technologies like artificial intelligence, which by its own definition, artificial intelligence is just going to basically just take over the human jobs and eventually just not even need someone to work on it. It'll fix itself. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. We're trying to change the direction of this channel. If you still want to keep track with the Sword channel and my Sword Journey of Dragonslayer, please go to Disney Twisted Outlaws. It's another channel. We finally have that one monetized, which is super awesome because this does take a lot of time and it's not cheap. Anyways, let me know what you all think, and we'll see you next time.